Be'ezus Hashem Yisburech, and start now Pashas Vayeshev. Vayeshev Yaakov be'eretz Megiddo over be'eretz Canaan. Yaakov lived in Eretz Yisrael, in the place of Avram and Yitzchak. Eile told us Yaakov, Yosef in Shvas Rishuna. Yosef was 17 years old, and it goes on to the whole story of Yosef and the brothers. The Pashtus of the Pusik is telling you that these are the toldos of Yaakov, and it means the next 4 parshiyos until Pashtus Vayechi, where Yaakov is nifted. And it starts off with the story of Yosef was 17 and continues. Derech Agav, the Medrash says that Eile told us Yaakov, Yosef. The main child of Yaakov was Yosef. He worked for Lavan to marry Rachel, and Rachel's oldest was Yosef. This is the main, and all the stories that happened between Yaakov happened to Yosef, his brothers, the situation with his brothers, and the fact that he had to go to Gulis, and so on and so forth. Why did it say Eile told us Yaakov? Rashi brings down because we had before Eile told us Isov, he Edom, and there were a lot of kings and important people over there all mentioned. But the thing is, all mentioned in one Pyrek. Whereas over here, Eile told us Yaakov, and it's mentioned over 4 parshiyos, many things that happen, because the Derech HaTorah is that it takes the important people and gives you much more arichas about them. And Yaakov is obviously much more important. So what happened over here? That Yosef was 17 years old. Interesting machlokes between Rashi and the Ramban. Rashi learns that it means that he was playing with the Bnei Bila, Bnei Zilpa, which was, I guess, technically under his stature, because they were Bnei Ashfuchos. And one of the things that he complained was that the brothers were mezalzel in the Bnei Ashfuchos. The Ramban says if that's the case, then they wouldn't have hated him. They would have stuck up for him. They would have helped him by the Mechidus Yosef. So the Ramban says that the Tat of the Pusik is different. He was 17 years old, but even so, his father considered him to be young. He was, I guess, not so. He was more of a Torah scholar. He was not so such a field person. So even though it was Vayeshev Batzoin, Yaakov commanded the Bnei Bila and Bnei Zilpa to keep an eye on him. The Kapunim says, "Vayuva Yosef is dibusim v'ru elaviyim." Yosef brought terrible information, bad information about his brothers to his father. So what happened over here? Was Yosef a Baal Lashon Hara? Did he tell Lashon Hara about his brothers? So the thing is, let's go into exactly what did he say. So one of the things he said is that they were eating Ayva Menachai. So look, the producer's Druchim. What was going on over here? The brothers, Bnei Yankov, were doing Gavayras, eating Ayva Menachai. Even Bnei Noach are not allowed to eat Ayva Menachai. Zukted, the brothers shechted the animal. And when you shech the chicken, it runs around like a chicken without a head. Basically, it's still running around. After it was shechted, they went ahead and ate it. They ate it, they ripped off a piece and cooked it. And while it was, before it actually died, before it stopped running around, which be'emes lahalocha, for B'nai Yisrael, that would be mitter. Because it's already geshacht, and shchita causes is matter la'achila, not misa. Midrabunan could be tzusah, but they felt that it was mitzvah, but Yosef felt no. We have a din. We still have a din of Bnei Noach. The Torah wasn't given yet, so we maybe we'll do mitzvahs like Bnei Yisrael, but we have to be machmir like Bnei Noach, and therefore we're not allowed to eat it until it actually dies. And he held differently, so he had a machlokes with them in halacha, but they felt their way and he felt his way. So he went to his father and he told his father, Tati, they're doing this thing. Is it allowed or is it disallowed? They hold it's allowed because of this. I hold it's disallowed because of this. And Yaakov agreed that they shouldn't do it, and he gave them mitzvah about it. So that's what it means. He brought the bad information about them. He wasn't saying Lashon Hara about them. But it caused, when people talk about somebody else, it causes a discord, and that caused the brothers to hate him, and that caused him to go down to Mitzrayim, which was actually a benefit in the long run, but it caused all of these difficulties. Okay, so it says that Yaakov loved Yosef, Yisrael loves Yosef. Why? Ki ben Zekinim hiloi. He was a ben Zekinim. What's that ben Zekinim? He was born when he was older. But the Ramban asks, they were all born when he was older. Yaakov only got married at 84 years old. So, of course, they were born when he was older. So it's a little bit difficult to say that. The Ramban says that what it means is that a father takes one of his children And he says, you stay with me, you be my hosbucher. And when you get older, when he gets old, this son will take care of him. And that's what means Ben Zakina, no one takes care of him when he's older. There are two other Perishim b'derech remes. Zakina means a allusion of Chachma, Zuken Zekunu Chachma. So it means that he taught him, he was smart, and he taught him everything that he learned from Shem Va'ayvet. And another pshat is Zikinim is Melushan Ziv Ikinim, his face, that he looked very similar to him. Okay, so now we have the situation with the brothers. The brothers did not like that Yosef was the favorite, and they hated him for it, and they cannot speak to him nicely. They cannot speak nicely. Why couldn't they speak nicely to him? Rashi says this is praise for the brothers. They're praiseworthy because they didn't lie to him and cham for him and then stab him in the back. No, I can't stand you because you do bad stuff against me. Now comes the story of the Chaloimis, and this is a very, very important story, very hard to understand, and very important. And it has connotations l'doros. So Yosef had a chulam, and he told his brother, what was the chulam? That we were all cutting wheat, and we made bundles of wheat. My bundle stood in its place, and all of the other bundles bowed down to me. They got very upset. Are you trying to lord it over us? Are you trying to become the king over us? They were very, very upset about it. What did the chulam actually mean? That there's going to be a hunger. Yosef is going to have wheat. Everybody else's wheat is going to fall and bow down. In other words, they're going to have to come bow down to him for wheat. So that's the pshat in that chulam. So then he had another chulam, and that chulam was that the sun and the moon and 11 stars are all bowing down to him. And in this case, it wasn't bowing down to the wheat; it was bowing down to him. So what's that about? So the real meaning of the chulam is that later on, after they came to Mitzrayim, after they already knew who he was, after the hunger was over, the Yaakov, and according to Rashi, Bila, or the rest of the Mishpacha, according to Ramban, and the 11 brothers all bowed down to him. So they bowed to him for his own godless, because he was a king. So they bowed to him, and that's what this chulam meant, and it was 100% Mekiyim. But at the time, obviously, they didn't know that, so they hated him. And when he told it to his father got really upset, and he said, Vayiga Bayova, he yelled at him. He said, what's with you? Why are you having these chaloimis? Do you expect that me and your mother and your brothers are all going to come bow down to you? The brothers were jealous, but Yaakov kept it in his mind, and he held on to it. And the Mashmur says he even told everybody that he's holding on to it. He knew that it was. Now, here's the question. What was going on over here? Rashi says that Yaakov wanted the brothers not to have this fight, so he made like he was getting angry at Yosef. I don't see how that would stop the brothers from fighting with him. If anything, that should make it worse. The other question is, Yaakov said, is your mother going to come? Your mother's dead already. Ruchel was nifted already, so how could you expect your mother to come? And Yaakov didn't know that it's referring to Bilhah. That's what Rashi says. Yaakov didn't know. He didn't know. He made a mistake. He thought that it was talking about Ruchel, and he didn't know it was talking about Bilhah. Very interesting thing that Rashi says Yaakov didn't know. Then he says that Chachomim say that every chulam has dvurim b'tailim, and this was the dvurim b'tailim in the chulam. But in that case, why do you have to say Yaakov didn't know? And why do you have to say it's talking about Bilhah? It was dvurim b'tailim. So this Rashi is very, very hard to understand. So I'll explain the secret of this Rashi b'siyata d'shmaya. There are 3 types of chaloimis. The first type of chulam is when somebody thinks something and they're busy thinking about it, they dream about it. The Gemara tells a story that the Melech told Shmuel, I hear you're so smart, tell me what I'm going to dream tonight. He says, you're going to dream about some kind of difficulty that you're going to have with the Romans. And he told him exactly what's going to happen, and he dreamed that. Why? Because you thought about it all day. So if you think about something, you dream about it. That dream does not mean anything in the scheme of things. That's dream number 1. The other extreme is a dream which is a nevius, like it says in Parshas Ba'aloschuim, Yeh neviachem shem b'maru ayla v'svadu b'chaloi madavaboy. The Rebbeinu Shalom talks through a chulam, and the Rambam says most neviim get the nevius through a chulam. In that case, everything is mekiyim. By a nevius, every single thing is mekiyim. There's no dvurim b'tailim at all. The middle case is where somebody has a chulam that's echad mishishim benaviyah. It's a 1/60th of neviyah. In that case, there's some dvurim b'tayla and some things that are true. And that's Yirmiyah, there's a pusik about it, Malatev and Sabar. There's a chulam and there's a neviyah. The chulam also has validity. That's what Yaakov thought is going on over here. Had Yaakov, the brothers thought that this was just from the Yosef's grandiose notions in his brain. And that's what they were very upset at him. They held that he was a moirid b'malchus in Yaakov Avini. He's the father, he's the king, and you're rebelling and destroying the family. Yaakov held that it was the middle one, that it was a chulam emes, but it wasn't a nevius. In that case, you don't have to tell it over. You don't have to repeat it because it's not a nevius. A nevius you have to repeat, but this you don't have to repeat. Had Yaakov known it was a nevius, he wouldn't have stopped him. Because in the nevius you have to repeat, he has to continue, you have to listen to it. But Yaakov thought it was just a chulam. So he said, it's a chulam emes, but just a chulam, then you don't have to repeat it. So he said it can't be true. Why? Because your mother was nifter already. So it can't be. The moon refers to your mother. She's not coming. But Yaakov didn't know that it refers to Bilhah and that it was taka chulam emes. Had he known that, he wouldn't have stopped Yosef. We got to shiny Baruch Hashem.